Today, we will be talking about how the new layering system works with the release of Inkarnate 2.0. You may have noticed that some things look a little bit different in Inkarnate, and some features seem to have some new functionality. This is due to an incredibly huge update that the Inkarnate team pushed through, changing how layers work in Inkarnate. So let's talk about Inkarnate 2.0. The most notable difference is the new look of the Object and Layer panel on the right side of the screen. This panel is no longer split into two sections, and viewable layers are now combined into one list to better accommodate their new functionality. You'll start your new map with a list including the background layer and one object layer. If you're making a world map, you'll also have a foreground layer with a mask layer or land tool layer attached. Additionally, you'll notice that the grid is listed as a layer, removing it from the left toolbar entirely, and there is a new layer titled Base Color. At the top of the panel, you'll see the option to add layer. When doing so, you'll get the option to add one of four different types of layers. These include additional object layers, brush layers, filter layers, and grid layers. First, we'll talk about object layers. While the old system only allowed for one object layer, now you can add as many as you want, each one with multiple sub-layers. Within an object layer, layering of stamps, shapes, and lines work just as it used to in the old system. The difference now is that by adding extra object layers, you'll be able to effectively have as many as you desire. Each of these object layers now also has 21 sublayers, from -10 to +10 for even more functionality within a layer. To the right of your chosen object layer within the list, you'll notice that you can hide the layer entirely or change the layer options by using the gear icon. From here, you'll be able to adjust the opacity and blend mode of the entire layer, as well as set the layer shadow settings. There is also an option for clipping mode, which is an incredible new feature that I can't wait to dive into more in a future video. You'll also have the option to delete the layer and every object on it. Right-clicking the object layer or clicking on the three little dots will open the layer menu with additional options, such as renaming the layer, adding a mask to the layer, or flattening. This will flatten everything beneath the layer and create a new layer entitled Flattened. Next, we'll talk about brush layers. While we have fewer default brush layers, we do now have the option to add additional brush layers at any position of our map. These layers can be placed between object layers, making them a very powerful tool. By using the gear to choose layer options, you'll be able to adjust opacity and blend mode of the layer. Right-clicking or clicking the three little dots will open up a layer menu with additional options to rename, add mask, or flatten. Texture layers work pretty much the same as they used to, with the exception that now you can assign them blend modes, change their position on the list, or delete them from your map entirely using the settings. Any extra brush layers you add will be transparent until you add texture. You'll also notice that there is an erase option available in the brush tool now. This erases all texture on the active brush layer, making it transparent. The grid options have also moved to this panel, and now you can even place multiple grid layers if needed. The layer options are pretty much the same as they used to be, with the added option to give your grid a blend mode. You can also assign one of your grid layers as your main grid, which will affect your snap to grid options. Filters have moved to this right panel as well, meaning you will no longer find them on the left toolbar. This is because filters are no longer married to individual object layers and now occupy their own layer within the list. When you add a filter, the functionality of choosing the filter is pretty much the same. Clicking the three dots or right-clicking will give you additional options available to all types of layers, including layer options where you can adjust the filter presets. One other big change is you'll notice that you have the option to add a mask to any layer. If you click on the chosen layer mask, you can use the brush tool to adjust which areas are and aren't masked with a variety of settings, including mask opacity, softness, and brush size. The mask opacity slider is variable, so you can have a mask that ranges from fully transparent to completely opaque. One other highly anticipated change is we now have the option for transparency. To do so, make sure that your base color option is set to transparent. Hide any objects or texture layers that you don't want in your export and be sure to choose PNG as your file type. This is great for using the new feature to export composites. Be sure that you're complying with the terms of service when using this feature. Overall, this new layer system provides a ton of versatility. Not only can you have more object and brush layers than ever, but the ability to reorder layers by dragging and dropping them provides opportunities we've never had before. I hope that this provides you with some understanding of how this new layering system works. I look forward to exploring these new features in depth and sharing new tips and tricks using Inkarnate 2.0. So for more videos on these tools, tips and tricks, and time lapses, be sure to like and subscribe.